Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights.
Life's been really busy, as you can imagine, with lots of kiddos in the house and working and doing all the things that we all do. But I'm so happy to be filming this video. I just took a few days out of my week and filmed whenever I got a chance of all the little things that I'll be making for my family, and I wanted to take you along. So today I'm going to be making some pizza dough and some sourdough bread. We're also going to be cooking for Shabbat later on, making some desserts. As you can see over there, I'm trying to get something out, and whenever I give my kids the chore of emptying out the dishwasher, I always find certain things in, not the correct places, as you can imagine. But I'm going to be organizing the kitchen shelves a little bit today as well. So I'm going to be taking you just on the basic homemaking type of things that we all mommies do. So come along. I really did miss my sourdough bread over Passover. So as you know, on Passover, we don't have any kind of wheat products that are leavened. So I am really excited to be getting back into the swing of things, making sourdough bread. I do have different techniques and different methods that I'm using now with my sourdough that I've done from the beginning, you would say. So I changed a few things up. Maybe I'll make a new video a bit later on if you guys would be interested in hearing or seeing my new technique. Let me know in the comments down below. I made 3 loaves this time, and it was a bit too much for us. And if you've seen my latest reel on Instagram or short on YouTube, then you would have seen what I made with it. We made some garlic cheesy bread, and it came out amazing. Over there, I'm making also some pizza dough, as I said earlier, and I'm always laughing at myself because I do have the attachment, that one, to prevent the flour from going all over the place, but I just never use it. I don't know, I feel like a lot of people do the same thing. We have the things that we need, but we don't always use them properly. Of course, I'll have the pizza dough recipe down below in the description box if you guys are interested. While that's resting and rising, I'm going to be finishing up my sourdough breads. They're just bench resting now, and I'm going to be placing them into their bannetons and into the fridge. There's just something so therapeutic about touching dough, manipulating it, or just watching other people work with dough. I love watching shorts and reels on other people making sourdough bread and how they score it and how they shape it. It's just very calming and relaxing. Do you guys feel the same way? Let me know below. At around 3:30, my youngest gets home. Well, actually, he's not my youngest anymore. My second to last youngest gets home, and I love that I have a whole hour with him just solo, where I get to do his homework, we get to schmooze, we get to chat and catch up. He's there right with me right now while I'm making my pizza, rolling it out, and he's gonna be my big helper today. Because the dough rose so nicely, I saw that I could make a bunch of things with it. So I decided to also make some garlic nuts. We actually loved it. And coming after Passover, I feel like we're all in like the mood to eat so much gluten. So I was ready to make pizza and garlic nuts and some cinnamon rolls, as you'll see later. So that was very exciting. I got to roll out some dough, and then Hillel wanted to join in and help me out as well, so I let him. Now that the garlic nuts are all done, I'm moving on to the pizza. I love doing this method with the hands, like this real authentic Italian woman making pizza dough. I don't have the perfect technique, but it does work, so I do that from time to time as well. After putting the marinara sauce over the top, I do add in some garlic and some oregano over the top, and then I topped it off with some cheese. I made two different pies. One of them I added in some tomatoes, as you'll see, some sliced up tomatoes, and I then baked it and drizzled on some truffle oil, which was yum. And of course I just left one plain for any of my picky eaters. And then I also wanted to make some cinnamon rolls because I had a little bit of dough left over, and I was really in the mood of just having tons of gluten, like I said, after Passover. Very simple, just added in some butter, some brown sugar, and cinnamon, and then I'm going to be rolling that up, slicing it up, and placing it into the oven to bake as well. While everything is baking, I'm going to be making the topping for the garlic nuts. So I have one stick of butter that's been softened, about 4 to 5 cloves of garlic, maybe even more. It really depends on how garlicky you like it. Then I'm going to be crushing. I'm going to also add in some Parmesan cheese and some salt, black pepper, and oregano to that, and mix it all thoroughly and slather all of that onto the garlic nuts. It's finger licking good, also delicious. My kids love it. I feel like they could just have that for dinner if I would let them. I would actually have that for dinner myself as well. But the pizza was there too. I made a side of a salad as well, and that was just perfect. Once the pizza was out, I did top it off with a little bit of truffle oil, and we did thoroughly enjoy it all. For the cream cheese frosting, I simply just used a little bit of softened butter, some cream cheese, and some confectioner's sugar. I didn't measure anything. I just, mixed it all up and put that on top, and it was delicious. Over here, I'm using Sivan's Kitchen from Instagram. Her rolled cookie dough recipe came out yummy as well. This was a dessert for Shabbat. So once that was made, I popped it into the oven. I will have the reel for you from Instagram down below in the description box if you would like to check that out as well. This next recipe is Moroccan fish balls. It was so good. I went to my neighbor's house for Shabbat and she made it and I had to get the recipe. So I'm going to be sharing it with you today. I'm going to be using my food processor for this. I need 1 onion. So as you see, I have 1 onion here that I've quartered. I'm going to be placing that into the shredder, shredding all of that up. So to make the actual Moroccan fish balls, it's very simple. All I had to do was defrost a gefilte fish roll. As you see here, it's in the freezer section. Usually I defrosted it and placed it into a bowl. When I first had it in my neighbor's house, I thought it was so complicated to make. I thought I had to debone fish and do all this stuff to it, but it was so simple because you just basically work with a prepared gefilte fish and add a bunch of yummy things to it and it comes out incredible. So to that I'm also going to be adding in a little bit of dill. As you see here, just adds to the flavor. 1 egg also goes in and breadcrumbs. I'm going to be just using any kind of breadcrumbs that I have in the house, usually about half a cup or to 1 cup. Actually, you'll see me adding in some more breadcrumbs later on. As for the seasoning, I'm going to be adding in salt and black pepper to taste, some garlic powder and paprika too. And I'm going to also add in the onions that we food processed. I'm going to give everything a very good mix. And again, I chose to add a little bit more breadcrumbs because it felt a little bit too mushy for me and I wanted them to have more body. So I did add a little bit more, mix that up again, and I just fried them up until they were golden brown on both sides. Now that both sides have been browned beautifully, I'm going to be removing them from the pot so we can make our delicious sauce. The sauce is also incredibly simple. You just need a bunch of garlic, different colored peppers, and onions to go on the bottom. So I used about 5 cloves of garlic that I'm going to be slicing into circles. I took half of an onion and sliced them into big chunks, into like half moon rings, and I had a red and a green pepper. I used half of each of them. It just adds to the prettiness of the sauce. Place that all into the skillet with a little bit of oil and sauteed that up a bit. To season everything, I added in about a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of black pepper, about a teaspoon of chicken consomme, some garlic powder, and some red pepper flakes if you want it to be on the spicier side. I did add in a little bit, and just I feel like it adds a nice kick to it, especially because they're Moroccan fish balls. I sauteed all of that until it just starts to soften a bit. I would say about 7 minutes, and then I'm going to add in some delicious tomato sauce. I love this brand. I added in a whole entire container of that, whole entire glass jar of that. Mix it with some water also in the end, you'll see. Add in the fish balls, add in some water, cover that up and let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. Add in some dill over the top and it's just amazing and delicious. For Shabbat, I just wanted something a little bit different. I was getting really tired of all the food that we had over the holidays, so I decided to make some shawarma, French fries, and broccoli. For Shabbat dinner, it was so good. Usually shawarma isn't done with onions, but I decided to go for it anyways. And I took a shortcut. I got French fries that already are frozen in the bag. 5 minutes to make, pop it in the oven, and call it a day. Sometimes we just need to take shortcuts to make our lives a little bit easier. So on one sheet pan, you saw me do the fries. On the other sheet pan, I thought I can get away with doing the broccoli and the chicken with like a little separation, but that didn't work out so well. So I'm going to be using this glass container, putting the broccoli inside of that, and cutting up some dark meat chicken for the shawarma with some onions. The reason why I did decide to go with the onions was because I was afraid that the chicken would just dry out on the black on the warming plate, so I thought the onions would act as a little bit of like add more moisture to the dish. And I'm so happy that I did that because they started to almost caramelize on the sheet pan while we were waiting to eat it on Friday night. We really enjoyed it this way. There's so many variety of ways that you can make shawarma. You could use actual like skewer steaks and put layer upon layer of the dark meat chicken. I've seen that as well. It comes out delicious. I've never personally tried it. This was just by far the easiest method for me, and I seasoned everything with some salt, the black pepper, and shawarma seasoning. Added in a little bit of oil over the top of the chicken, gave everything a really good mix, and popped it into the oven until everything was cooked through. Halfway through cooking, I did give it a good mix and placed it back into the oven so that it could get nice and caramelized on all sides. This was such a nice change to our usual typical Friday night meals. We thoroughly enjoyed it. Miriam is over here. She's my oldest daughter. She's going to be making chicken. She's really been getting into cooking, and I think she feels very proud and accomplished. I never ever force my children to cook. She just keeps saying, "Mom, whenever you're cooking for Shabbat, can I do either the fish or the chicken or the meat?" Because she feels like she wants to have that, that proudness of herself that she accomplished something and everyone's enjoying it. So I think that's so sweet. She's 11 and a half years old, and I'm so happy that she's genuinely enjoying doing this in the kitchen. So for the chicken, she's just placing in some salt, black pepper, paprika, and garlic powder, giving it all a good mix, and then topping it off with some oil. Now that all of the cooking is basically done, I did want to tidy up a few spaces in the house. This is where I keep all of my, spoons and serving stuff, and I just wanted to declutter all of that, put them in the correct spots, just wiping everything down. There was crumbs everywhere, so felt really nice to just clean it all out, put a new liner inside, and just refreshen up a few spaces in the house. It never ceases to amaze me how much crumbs I can find in these cabinets and drawers. You would think we're actually eating on them, but I guess it's because it's a busy kitchen and we're constantly cooking, so it inevitably gets dirty. But I'm so happy that I was able to get this done. I love a fresh and clean cabinet. That definitely looks so much better now. And I did do a few other drawers as well. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. It really helps my channel out. And I'll see you all next time. Happy prepping from my family to yours.